Three, two, one.
My name is Nick. I'm a full-time trader and entrepreneur. We put out tons of stuff for free for traders. These are real trades. This is real money. I'm putting my money on the line. This is going to be a live trading video here, locking in over $1,000 on this trade. Wow, I'd love to get in on this. Technical insights that really look good to me. There we go. We're live. Well, hello guys. Welcome back to another live stream. I apologize for being a few minutes late. We actually had a fire alarm go off on the or at the office that I work at. So that was kind of weird. Well, it was very weird because the alarm wasn't going off. This sounds like really scary. The alarm wasn't going off in our floor of the office, which is, kind of concerning because it's like if there was a fire, you would probably want a little bit of notice before you're engulfed in flames, as you would probably imagine. So anyways, I had to go. I figured out because my Julie, who also works here, she called me and she's like, yeah, they're not letting people into the building. I think it's either a fire alarm or something. So it may have been something else. But anyways, a little bit of weird start to the day. I apologize for being late. We are here now, though. And so thanks for being here. Happy, what is today? Today is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you guys. Andrew says that's terrifying. Yeah, seriously, like that's, I don't know if it was a fire alarm. Maybe it was something else. Maybe it was something a little bit like what I was thinking is maybe it was like an intruder or something to the office. That could have been it, because then I don't think they would do an alarm in that case, because they're just blocking off the entrance of the office. So I would imagine that that might have been what it was, but we were just speculating maybe it was a fire alarm or something. I don't know. Nick, that's terrifying. Yeah, thanks. I know it's a little scary. Nick is looking fit. Hey, Brandon, thank you, man. Appreciate that. I have been hitting the gym. I've been laying off all the unhealthy stuff, or at least trying to. And no, I haven't eaten breakfast. Maybe that's why I look too thin right now. Too thin. I'm not that thin, but I wish. Anyways, you guys, happy Tuesday to you. Sorry for the different start than usual. Today we will be doing our standard scheduled program, which is going through the markets, talking about setups, looking at ideas and things that are going on in the financial markets. Now the dollar is getting a little bit of a pop here, which is not gonna lie, a little bit frustrating for me because I was just about to buy it. So sometimes that happens, but maybe we'll get another chance here. So I was looking at the dollar. I did like it to the upside here this morning, just off the reaction of everything going on with the S&P 500. We do have this stock market opening while we are on stream today. So we might be able to watch a little bit of that together today, you guys, which should be fun. As you guys may have known, the S&P 500 came down very, very, very strong in the last few trading days. Now, my point was saying that I mention this each time because I know that not everybody trades the S&P 500, but even if you don't, you should probably consider adding it to your watch list just as something to keep in mind in terms of the overall market. Now, what I mean by that is that when you look at a currency pair, when you look at the euro dollar or the pound dollar, there's actually a ton of different components that drive that price up or down. And it's not just the euro and the dollar. It also has to do with risk appetite around the world. It also has to do with, looking at the US stock markets. Are the US stock markets on fire, or are they really hurting? And that could actually play into the direction of the euro USD or the pound dollar, right? A really good example right now is the pound dollar. So I'm going to start with the pound dollar today. Some of you guys may have known that I was very bullish on the pound dollar about 2 weeks ago. In fact, check this out. You can see I got to keep bragging about my good trades whenever they happen, because it seems like they don't happen very often anymore. I'm kidding. They happen, but I have a lower win rate, and I'm good with that because I have a lower win rate and my wins tend to be a bit larger. So, I'm not too worried about not catching trades that are profitable every single day. But anyways, let me recap a little bit of this pound dollar because it's a great learning experience for some of you guys who are newer to this stuff to keep in mind. Check it out. The pound dollar, I was bullish on it. I bought it back here, sold it here, bought it here, stopped out for, I don't know if that was a break even or a small loss. It might have been a small loss. Took a trade here, slightly better than break even there. So all in all, I was looking for buys, and then I basically shut off. You'll see I didn't take any more trades to the long side on the pound dollar once we started breaking out of structure. And the reason for that, and I'm glad that I got stopped out when I did, because look at this. I took a stop loss and the thing just sort of fell out of favor. Now you might look at this in isolation and say, oh, it's just because the pound got weak and that's why it went down. But I would say that this was a little bit bigger than just the pound getting weak. There wasn't incredibly dovish news for the pound. In fact, it was more so the US dollar and the S&P 500 coming down, I would say, that dragged the pound dollar with it. Real quick, I'm going to show you something kind of cool. You guys might know about this or you may not. So let me show you, because we can all do some learning somewhere along the way. I don't know everything by any means. So, you can always learn something. Check this cool tool out that TradingView has. You can go to the compare function and you can look at two different charts to see if there's some form of correlation. Well, look at this. The S&P 500, which is in orange, came down real hard, and that brought the pound dollar with it. So even though, the pound has some hawkish outlook and I am bullish on the pound, we have to remember that risk sentiment. If the pound is sort of this riskier, potentially higher yielding currency, it's going to be impacted in many ways by global market sentiment. If traders and investors out there are optimistic about the world's outlook and growth is great, they may look to go buy the pound. Maybe it's an investment. Maybe they want to invest in the UK. Maybe they want to, buy UK businesses or buy UK real estate, whatever they want to do, right? Lend money, whatever they want to do. If they suddenly decide, actually, I'm going to pull back on that because the risk appetite, things don't look so good anymore in the world, that can cause the pound to drop very strongly, which is what we are seeing now. So again, comparing two different markets, you might say, I don't trade the S&P 500, but I'm here to prove you wrong. You very well may be more impacted by it than you think. All markets, to some degree or another, they have some level of, not necessarily, well, I guess kind of correlation, but really more some form of common thread between them. If you trade oil has a big impact on the Canadian dollar. If you trade the pound, you might be watching the S&P 500 as well, right? So the point here is, you guys, just keep an open mind with the markets that you watch and understand that they have different reactions and relationships with other markets out there. So with the pound dollar today, we're looking at this one. We might as well talk about it. I want to show you guys the 1 hour chart. So this thing looks fairly bearish until further notice. I am not incredibly interested in taking a whole bunch of shorts on the pound dollar personally, but we do have to acknowledge the fact that bears seem to be in control of this market. So let's at least do some markups to see what bears may be thinking about. If you're looking at this thing and you are bearish, which, by the way, you can have different opinions than me, that is completely fair. You may say, hey, I like the pound dollar short. I think from a technical analysis standpoint, this thing looks very bearish. You may be looking at things like the 38.2, the 50% retracement, maybe a tag back of this trend line could be the sort of entry style that you're looking for more downside on the pound dollar, which is not unreasonable at all, especially if you think that the pound dollar has potential to keep going. You may see prices move back down to lows there at 1.36. In fact, let's add that to our level here. So I'll just go bam, bam. There we go. So that is now on our chart. So we can zoom back in and see, hey, maybe that's a reasonable place to look for a move to 1.36. In fact, let me play around real quick with a fib-based extension here and just see if we can see anything here. Let's say price comes back to that 38.2, somewhere around here. And what you'll see is it does, in fact, even give us a extension. They're just shy of support at the 50% extension. If you don't know about extensions, I do have videos on them, so you can go check those out if you would like. I like them a lot for finding possible target areas or using them to trail my stops more effectively, I definitely encourage you to go watch my videos on that if you don't already know anything about fib retracements and fib extensions. Fib extensions are the less popular of the two. Most people, they like their fib retracements, but fib extensions can be really useful as well for finding targets. So let me just show you really quick what I did. So what I did, let's say, for example, that this is the top. Right? Let's say that this is the top of the pullback. What we could do is we could say bam, bam. So we drew from, I'm pointing at my screen as if you can see my finger. Right here, top of the move, bottom of the move. So A, B, and then C is the top of the pullback. Check it out. There's the top of the pullback. We're assuming, because it may not be. What we are saying now is that a 50%, so if we take this move here, right, and measure that out, that's a 100% move, right? So half of that move would land us right here. So a 50% extension to that move would land us there, and 100% of that move would land us right here. Quite a useful tool, in my opinion, especially if you are a trend follower and looking for sort of those bigger play out moves, to keep that in your toolbox. So we'll keep an eye on that, but it does look like if price does want to get very, what's the word I'm looking for? If price does want to actually show some follow through here to the downside, we could very well see a move down to 1.36. That seems fairly reasonable to keep our eyes on in terms of possible setups there on the pound dollar. If you're looking at this, if you're sort of a breakout trader, maybe you're looking at this with a close eye and you're saying, hey, it's sort of already broken structure here. The counter trend seems to have failed, and maybe we see more downside sort of slip right away. We'll have to watch that for sure. Pound dollar is on the watch list if you are a bear. So here's one more thing that I should add. Even though I am sort of more bullish on the pound and even bullish on the pound against the dollar in some cases, there's nothing wrong with, if you're a shorter term trader, just playing the move while it's there, right? This thing, price action wise, does look bearish for the time being. It looks to me, truthfully, like it's going down further. And you guys already know I made good money on the long side of pound dollar. So I'd love to be a buyer of the pound again. I am a bull on the pound. But there's nothing wrong with, if you see a setup, if it makes sense to you, if it lines up with your strategy and everything is playing out right, nothing wrong with looking for a setup and playing out, as long as it, like I said, as long as it meets your criteria for entries and etc. Anyways, like what I mean is nothing wrong with going against your overall analysis if there's really a trade that lines up on every other front. So from a technical analysis standpoint, pound dollar looks bearish to me. We'll continue on here and take a look at the dollar against the yen. How's the yen doing today? So the yen is absolutely strong. Crazy. Look at that, you guys. That is an impressive move to the downside. The yen is back in business. And man, this just keeps happening with the dollar yen. The dollar yen makes a move up, makes a move down, make a move up, make a move down. So I personally, unless we see a significant break to the downside here today, or not necessarily today, but in the next few days, there's just not a whole lot here for me for the dollar yen. You already know, if you watch my channel for a while, I like to be going with trends. And when this is happening, when you just have a tangled moving average situation, that's not really my style of trading. I don't like to be trading in this sort of area. Obviously, nobody wants to if you're a trend follower, but usually when I see this, I wait for it to sort of make a decision in terms of direction. So for example, what I might mean by that, let's say we draw this level of support here, pretty significant zone, right? Multiple times we've made a move here, tried to push lower and found buyers. The question here is now, looking at dollar yen, we have been seeing some lower highs coming into this market. Is it finally time for dollar yen to make a move underneath that low? If it does, maybe there's setups like this. Maybe you look for the retest. Maybe you're looking for continuation plays on that breakout. For me, it's not one that I'd love to trade. I'm not super bullish on the yen, even in a risk-off sentiment situation. I'd prefer to be buying the dollar than the yen. Personally, that's just my approach. I'm not a big yen long or yen bull. So, if from a technical analysis standpoint, though, just to point out, like we said with pound dollar, trying to remain objective and unbiased here, if the dollar yen breaks lower, there may be some really great technical bounce plays for those of you guys who do like trading the yen, right? Or trading long or bullish on the yen, right? Because remember, if you're bullish on this, or if you're bullish on the yen, what I mean by that is that you are looking at UJ and you're being bearish. That might be confusing to the newer traders, but what I mean is I'm saying if you're a bull on the yen and a bear on the dollar against it, that's what I'm saying. That would make you a yen bull to short this thing. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense to some of the newer traders out there. Real quick, while we're talking about the yen, it's a hot topic anytime the markets drop. The yen gets pretty strong usually. And what we see here today is a lot of counter cross or crosses against the yen are suffering big time. So you can see, we can draw this trend line. This thing has fallen out of favor big time on the Aussie yen. You can also draw this trend line as well and see no matter what you draw here, seems like we're just putting in those lower highs and showing sellers are still in control on this market. So let's look at Aussie yen on the 1 hour chart just to get a picture of what is moving here today. So here's what I meant earlier when I showed you that pound dollar, sort of counter trend breakout. Look at this. So the downtrend here is pretty clear. Let me change my template. I don't know why this messes up sometimes. There we go. So why do I have the colored SMA? I don't want that one. I would like it to just be the normal, whatever. So, okay. So my point here is this. The trend lines, everything pointing lower, right? Just momentum to the downside. It seems like there is less of an appetite for risk right now, and people are sort of rushing into that yen as a safe haven at this time. So as that occurs, we are seeing some dominant sell energy on this Aussie yen pair. Well, then we sort of had this situation. And anytime you start to see the situation, I am skeptical at first because this is what you would call a counter trend. So we have the dominant trend, we'll put it T, and then you have the CT or the counter trend move here. So the counter trend is this little move here. What you'll notice is that as soon as that broke, the sellers and the dominant trend just came rushing back in. They said, oh, we're back to standard practice. We're pushing this thing lower. And I would say that even buying here would be really, really risky. That's my opinion. But as long as this thing is in a dominant downtrend, I think most likely we see continued downtrend pressure, which would mean downtrends mean lower lows, right? Lower lows and lower highs. So if you're watching Aussie yen, I wouldn't short it myself because again, we do fair enough have some support here. But if you're looking at this thing and you're saying, okay, yeah, I think we could make a lower low. Maybe you're looking at stuff like this, right? You're looking at plays to the downside, breaks of support and looking for sellers to come rushing in, right? Why is every market going down? Is there any fundamental reason? There's plenty. So the Fed is talking about tapering. There's also an incident with, I believe it's a bankruptcy in China or something like that. It's a big, what's the word, ever something, some event. I haven't looked close enough into that particular event, but I do know that there is a big concern around stimulus for the economy in the US due to the Fed talking about looking to taper more aggressively and to combat inflation a little bit more. So that is on the rumor for tomorrow. We do have FOMC, which is a meeting with the Fed so that they can discuss their monetary policy plans, things like that, which is very likely to cause some volatility for things like the dollar, things like the yen, etc. NZD-JPY, another one here, just getting hammered this week. Very similar market structure here is the NZD-JPY. In fact, I won't even go too much in detail because it's pretty much the same setup there. Pound yen getting probably just destroyed, decimated here, the pound yen here today. And look at this, you guys. This is a great example of why, stop losses are important. Look at that. I took a trade on the pound yen. I put this video out, and by the time, actually, I don't know if that video is out yet. I filmed a bunch of trades, so they're coming out slowly. But I bought like right there and closed like shortly after. The trend just completely changed directions, and I'm really glad that I took that stop loss because look what happened later on. This thing just got decimated. So looking at the pound today, the pound against the yen, am I buying it now that it's lower? No, because again, it's trending lower. It's pushing lower. And as we look at this thing, if you're a pound yen bull, I would not personally, although, I could look at this later on today and be like, oh, I shoulda, coulda, woulda buy this thing. But my point is, I'm not going to buy at support in a dominant downtrend because it is putting in those lower lows. It's consistently breaking through support levels, right? So many times you could be sitting here looking at a trend like this and be like, okay, it's at support. Let me buy it here. And then bam, right? And then you find another support level and you, okay, buy it here. And it goes bam, right? So the point is, when something is in a dominant downtrend, I tend to avoid taking any sort of buys. When something is in a dominant uptrend, I tend to avoid taking significant shorts or sells on it until it really shows signals of reversal. That brings us to my point next with the pound yen. If you are like me and you would like to buy the pound yen, here's what I'm looking for. Here's what I would really be interested in taking a position on. I do like the pound yen fundamentally if things can change directions, if things start to look optimistic for markets again, which again, might not happen for a week, 2 weeks, a month, right? I'm not there. So I'm not jumping into a whole bunch of, risk on buys right now because I don't see the markets. The markets seem to have real strong sell pressure on them. The S&P 500 is coming down a little bit here. Oh, by the way, you guys, we got the stock market opening in 1 minute. So let's see if there's a rush for the door in sell side, or maybe we can see some bulls. I'd love to see some bulls come back into the S&P 500 and start getting that risk on sentiment going again. But my wish is not the market's command. It is going to do what it wants to do, and I'm going to try and react accordingly. So when I look at pound yen, let me finish my point here. On pound yen, let's say I'm looking at this thing with a bullish perspective. I would like to be a buyer on this, which is true. I can't buy it down here for two main reasons. Number one is it's in a downtrend. Number two, retail traders right now are trying to buy this thing big time. Like that's their game. I haven't even looked at this, and I can tell you that they are buying the crap out of this. What I mean by retail traders is the average trader at home who doesn't really know what they're doing is buying the pound yen big time. Look at that. 76% of retail traders currently buying the pound against the yen. I'll zoom in for those of you guys who may have trouble seeing a little bit. Let me see, pound yen. There we go. Pound yen, 23% of traders are short and 76 are going long against the dominant trend. So I can't really justify going long on the pound yen until we really see signs of strength from the bulls. I'm not really interested in trying to catch the lows all the time. My goal is to catch moves when they happen. And for me, what that might look like is show me the strength, but also show me some breakouts. Show me something to tell me that buyers are there, they exist, right? So something like that, absolutely. Could love to look for that sort of breakout reversal, but as long as it's showing some signs of validity there. Okay, so the S&P 500 is open. Let me, or the stock market here in the US is open. Let me switch that chart really quick just to see what is going on here. So 5-minute view as the markets get open. I'm just curious to see. So sellers are coming in out of the gate, which is interesting. We saw selling in the pre-market. So leading up to the stock market opening, we saw sell. Will it continue? I mean, the stock market did have a pretty good bounce there overnight. So again, here's the 5-minute chart, big picture. You had this real big sell-off, right? Just consistent selling followed by this rally overnight. The question is, are sellers going to come in? And the answer seems to be yes right now and push us lower. So the stock market is pushing lower here as we speak, you guys. Look like it's about to break out to the downside. Yeah, I would agree. Just out. Yeah, so definitely important to pay attention. Dade also points out that if you would like a link to our website, there it is, a1trading.com. The tools that I'm pulling up and using on the site, you guys can use them too. It's completely free to do. You can check out retail sentiment each day. We have tons of people who head over to the site to view the COT reports and things like that. So definitely very interesting to watch the release here, or not the release, the the open of the US stock market. It usually causes a bit of volatility across the board. So let's go take a look at the dollar here today. What's happening with the DXY in response to this? We'll pull up let's do the 1 hour chart here for a second. So the 1 hour chart getting a little bit of strength, really holding these lows here. So not bad. So when I look at this again, my goal here is just to go with the flow. Right now, it does seem like dollar strength is prevalent. And look at that. You can see it's sort of following through off of this level right around 93. So very cool to see it. We'll keep going. Let's take a look at gold here today, this morning, as things get started. So the gold market made a pretty good push. And this is actually fairly reasonable to see. We can see that the gold market did make a push higher. So check this out. Gold market found some support down there at 1748. I thought it would break through that level, truthfully, or I didn't want to buy this thing either. I didn't want to buy gold because we just don't have like a really clear trending direction. This is a good start, though. We're seeing some buyers come back into the gold market. You can see we had big support there, triple bottom, and basically found support. I think a path of least resistance for gold is very easily making a move back up to 1785 could be in the cards. Maybe not today, but maybe in the next few days, we see gold try and retest some of this resistance. From there, it's just going to be a battle because I would not have an opinion here. I wouldn't be selling that. I wouldn't be buying that because, again, we're sort of sideways overall and sentiment is very mixed when looking at gold. So as we do come up here, if we hit that level, you may have some sellers who are trying for this. You may also have buyers who want to break out. So like I said, the point that I made, several times here when looking at gold, for a stronger trend, I wanted to see 1830 break. We never really saw that. We triple topped, or I guess quadruple topped, technically, just found resistance there yet again. So until there's really a clean break one way or the other, it's hard for me to really sort of have a directional bias, especially when I mix sentiment now on the dollar. The dollar's sort of neutral for me. I can't really pick a strong directional side on gold either. But for those of you guys who are trading it, of course, you may have a different strategy than me. So a couple things to point out. You may have your eyes on this level. If you are looking to be a gold seller, pay attention here. You got the 61.8. That looks pretty clean, at least from just a technical perspective on the lower time frames. A reaction at that level could be there. So again, a couple things to watch for you guys who trade gold. What do you guys think? Drop your comments. Are you bullish or are you bearish on gold here? What do you think? Do you think it's going higher? Do you think it's going lower? I mean, it very well could break out of this level. We did find some pretty impressive support there, but that's, like I said, that's why I'm sort of mixed / neutral on gold right now. I don't have a big opinion as to where I think it's going next. But you guys let me know. What do you think? You bullish? You bearish? Drop your thing in the chat, and I'll try and see what the sentiment seems to be. Already shorted gold 2 weeks ago. Nice, Hassan. That's awesome. Bearish. Some bulls in the house as well. I'm 80% bullish. What of GU? We already took a look at GU. You can go back in the stream if you'd like to see that. 1782. It's depends what you're drawing. Still bearish, of course. Just look at the daily candle. Bearish. Well, if you look at the daily, actually, that just confuses me even more personally, because you just got a lot of chop back and forth, right? Sellers were really strong, then buyers were really strong, sellers were really strong, and then, where's it going to go from here? If it's continuing the pattern, we would say this, right? At least that's my reaction. You may have a different reaction to me. That's perfectly fine. But again, very sideways here for me. When I look at this, it's like, okay, we haven't gone anywhere. We've gone back and forth. Maybe there's some short-term momentum plays you're looking at. But for me as a trader, I like this scenario. I like just one side dominating, because then it makes trading a lot easier for me. And I'm a guy who likes easy stuff. I'm more on the side of, just go with the easy stuff. And right now, this just does not seem like an easy market to trade for me. Personally, just my opinion. You might have a different opinion than me, and that's, like I said, doesn't mean I'm right all the time, just because I have an opinion that might be different than yours. If you're out there trading gold and you have good reason to do so, as long as it matches up with your strategy and you're doing you, hey, if it works for you, do it. Don't listen to anybody else, right? I'm not here to tell you what to do with your strategy. I wouldn't, sort of sit here and be like, oh, if you don't trade like me, you're never going to make any money. Nah, there's plenty of ways to make money in the markets. So just do you. If there's a strategy that makes sense to you, if there's setups that are clean for you and you have a strategy that you've back tested and put in the time for, like I said, do your thing. Let's keep going. We'll take a look at a couple more markets here. AUD USD here is one that I would like to look at. The Aussie dollar coming in real sell heavy. Look at that 61.8 that we had drawn earlier on. That really held so nice. Maybe some of you guys caught some of the downside there on Aussie dollar, but very similar story to Aussie yen and NZD yen, which we looked at earlier. Basically, the counter trend breakout and sellers coming in hard. So are we headed back to lows? I would say that's the path of least resistance in terms of the Aussie against the yen. And so with that said, guys, that is going to wrap up what I have for you today. Before you go, do me a couple things. Number one, hit that like button. Number two, hit that subscribe button. And number three, we've got another stream starting. So if you just joined in the last 5, 10, 15 minutes and you would like to see more content coming, a friend of mine is coming on next. We've got another show lined up. You guys may or may not know about my company, A1 Trading. We do all sorts of coverage, and we've got lots of different guests who come on as sort of analysts and people who do their thing. So we've got another show starting in just a few minutes. Let me hook you guys up with the link, because you guys do not want to miss Ivan's thing. In fact, I am really going to be watching it myself today because I'm curious what Ivan has to tell us about the markets today. Ivan is a fundamental and technical trader like myself. He looks into this stuff pretty detailed. So, oh, look at Dade. Dade, you are just awesome, man. Dade, he also dropped the link, but you can grab his or grab mine. Click that link, open up a new tab, or if you're on a phone, whatever, hit the set reminder, or just stay in that call. If you'd like to pull it up on your computer, if you're doing your analysis, whatever you're doing, just pull it up and wait. And in 20 minutes, we're going to be going live with Ivan. And I really want to encourage you guys, if you're newer traders, Ivan is a very good, educator as well as trader himself. And I want to encourage you to go watch that show because you'll get a lot of value out of it. It's completely free to do. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and also, please, one big favor I can ask for you guys, if you enjoy my content, if you support the work that I'm doing here, subscribe to our second channel. Again, when you go to that link, go subscribe to our second channel, A1 Trading. We have so much stuff coming out and planned for that. We just started a new segment on there called the Gold and Silver Show, which is really cool, or the Gold and Silver Report, which is basically a weekly thing that one of our analysts is going to be doing for us there. So if you like trading gold, it'll be a weekly breakdown that could be helpful to you. And again, it's all free. So go subscribe to A1 Trading on YouTube and subscribe to my channel here, Trader Nick. So guys, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day. Trade safe, and I'll see you guys in Ivan's stream. See you in just a minute.
I know you were expecting Nick, but my name's Julie and I do the real work around here. I wanted to take a second to thank you guys for watching the show and tell you more about some free content that we offer. One of the things that we offer is a free email newsletter. So if you click the link down below, you can sign up for free market analysis, trading tips, and exclusive offers. Every once in a while, someone here at A1 Trading takes a crazy trade, and you'll be the first one to know about it. See you guys next time.